If you've been bestowed with the greatest macro chance that has ever existed, it is imperative that you do not squander it by engaging in foolish behavior. Have you got the more the price goes up, the more FOMO there is, and I just mentioned $100 trillion that are now available that weren't before? My current focus is on the value increasing rapidly. As you may be aware, I dubbed my initial investment $10 trillion in 2019 when the market cap was $300 billion, reasoning that by 2020, the combined value of all cryptocurrencies and equity would reach $10 trillion, which is a conservative target. There was a major milestone for Bitcoin, the most valuable cryptocurrency in the world, on Friday. Set a new record high of 70,184 USD per coin, eclipsing the previous record high of 69,210 USD set earlier this week on Tuesday. It would be a massive understatement to claim that Bitcoin has had an extremely interesting week. This past week, the leading digital asset established a new record. For Bitcoin, this is a first. We achieved a new all-time high price before the halving event not once, but twice in the span of a week. There is still a lot more for Bitcoin to come, but its price increased by 34.9% in 2 weeks and 60.5% in the previous month when it climbed past $70,000. For this reason, Raoul, CEO and creator of Real Vision, is exceedingly bullish about the price of crypto assets in the years 2024 and beyond. Powell, a famous macro analyst and executive at Goldman Sachs, claims that the cryptocurrency industry offers a once-in-a-lifetime chance for investors to make a killing, rescuing them from the bleak global economy and allowing them to pass their wealth down through the generations. Furthermore, this is a chance that is exclusive to digital assets like cryptocurrencies. It is quite rare in general. Powell has a very bullish outlook on cryptocurrency, both in the short and long term. Nobody is as exceedingly pessimistic as Powell, who predicts a tenfold increase to $10 trillion in the industry's value over the next several years and a near straight line to $200 trillion thereafter. 10T Holdings, headed by CEO and managing partner Dan Tapiero, is a representation of Tapiero's forecast that the cryptocurrency industry will reach $10 trillion in the coming years. Please like, subscribe, and enable post notifications so you don't miss any of our future films in which we feature interviews with these two smart investors and crypto aficionados. Post your thoughts and opinions in the comment box below to become a part of the discussion as well. I truly value all of your efforts. Okay, then let's get down to business. I believe many of you have the solution to one of the things I've sought in my investment life. This is the key to a better life, because we aren't amateur investors. For the sake of realizing that future self-image, we put money into this venture. We fall short from time to time, but when we do, it's a major setback because you feel like you failed. Plus, things were much simpler in this realm when I first began working. You are aware that the market was a fantastic place to be in the 1990s. Volatility was low when it was present. It resembled the Asian crisis in that it could be traded. The dot-com bubble followed. You may make a lot of money at these large-scale events. Suppose I left the hedge fund business at a time when investors saw substantial gains. However, following that, returns on everything plummeted, especially after 2008. In the same way that rules imposed on banks altered the character of risk-taking. As global GDP growth trend rates fell, people's investment options and expected returns changed. As interest rates dropped, it became clear that investments in things like the stock market weren't going to provide satisfactory returns. The skyrocketing prices of goods and services, especially assets, have become an issue for everyone. However, in most cases, our salaries haven't increased by quite the same amount. You need only glance at the nearby residences. The one whose price you were planning to purchase just went up by twofold. Your pay, however, has remained unchanged. In the grand scheme of things, that is what our future holds in light of the demographic dilemma and the debt problems of yesteryear. All of our opportunity sets have been destroyed and the economy is now jammed up because of those. Furthermore, we should all do our best to resolve this matter. Cryptography, though, stood out to me as the foundation upon which my future would be built. You know, I've gone on and on about how important it is to have a steady income, the merits of starting a business, and the importance of setting objectives for one's lifestyle, and how that lifestyle is like a bank. However, you would also like the chance to gain an advantage so you can stop outplaying the game a little. Furthermore, cryptocurrency was the catalyst for my future, and I guarantee you that it will be for many of you as well, so long as you refrain from making a fool of yourself. If you've been bestowed with the greatest macro chance that has ever existed, it is imperative that you do not squander it by engaging in foolish behavior. Once again, it's important to have a solid foundation in your key positions. You should limit those tokens to the top 5. The next step is to create a degen bad for trading FOMO, meme coins, or any other NFTs you like. While it's possible, it won't be the focus of your portfolio. You don't need to risk that 100x to make a tidy profit. Very few people are able to pull off those kinds of things. However, cryptocurrency is the most promising market. In terms of risk-adjusted returns, it is by and away the best. As far as I was concerned, that was the key. Powell thinks that 2008 was the turning point in the global economy when major economies throughout the globe realized that population and productivity growth, the two most crucial drivers of GDP growth, were either stagnant or declining. Although there was a turning point, most of these economies' debts have continued to mount, eventually reaching 100% of GDP. Powell argues that increasing productivity growth is the sole solution to the GDP catastrophe, since global economies are currently in a critical phase as a result of unregulated money printing by central banks. Here we find the reason behind the macro analysts' strong bullishness on Bitcoin and technology, the exponential age. For similar reasons, Dan Tapiero is also positive on various assets, particularly cryptocurrencies. Dan has a cautious estimate for the near-term value of the digital asset industry, and the $10 trillion represented by his 10 trillion holdings is his bet. When the industry's market size was a pitiful $300 billion, he made this forecast a number of years ago. He goes into detail about the present stage of the cycle and revisits his projection of $10 trillion during a recent interview with Blockworks Macro. Listen, we shattered the previous milestone in 2017 at 20,000 and moved up to 60. The new peak was referred to as 69. I could care less. The number is just 60. We have recently surpassed 60. We have the option to shift to a different angle. Yes, that's right. So what gives? That's reasonable. From here on out, Bitcoin's value will treble. Thus, I'm predicting 150 to 180 as a reasonable target, or, to be more cautious, 120. As far as Bitcoin holders are concerned, that is not a major issue. The fact that the value is growing exponentially is what matters to me at the moment. You are aware that my initial investment vehicles were dubbed 10T or 10 trillion, since in 2019, when the market cap was 300 billion, I estimated that the combined worth of all cryptocurrencies and equity must have been 300 billion. As for the next 5 to 10 years, I aim for a cautious 10 trillion, which is a 30x increase. I reason that no one I know or anyone in the conventional world would ever accept that as my true opinion. Thus, I will just include that in the name of my fund, and it will be permanently fixed there. In my opinion, there is still a lot of room for improvement here. When I say that Bitcoin's value may rise from $60 to $120, or that Ethereum's value could rise from $3,500 to $10,000, you're essentially saying that the entire ecosystem of digital assets is worth more than $10 trillion. Also, I believe we've reached the stage where it's actually here, don't you? That's fun. This is an exciting ride, priced at 10 trillion. People from the old world who weren't interested while we were talking in 2019 and 2020 briefly were in 2021, but by 2022 and 2023 it was all about fraud and everything in between. When the market cap reaches $10 trillion, I believe the network effect will have been established and individuals will begin to delve more deeply into the area since there will be enough money, value, and people. As far as I can tell, nothing has changed. Yes, we did break the peak, as I mentioned before. I can go to 150,000 or 180,000, you might simply say. In all seriousness, though, I estimate that the cycle will reach 10T by 2025-26 months, give or take. It may happen now a lot faster. A safety net, in case I'm mistaken about the pricing, is to give myself more time. Therefore, I find that to be quite logical. Could we reach 300 to 350 as